Hello and welcome back to Incisive Decisive. It's a little update today on one of our previous episodes on Indemnity. And I'm here with Colin just to clarify a few details.
Well, this is how we had always hoped, I think, and that things would work and that we would create some sort of discussion and debate around the topics that we were talking about. And we'd laughed about the two listeners that we'd had before.
Turns out those two listeners are Neil Taylor
and Vicki Holden, which is brilliant. So after the Indemnity episode, when we waffled on about our views on Indemnity, then Neil contacted us with some discussion and some clarification and some correction. And in the true sense of openness and transparency, we wanted to just go back through that type of stuff just to show what. So Shaun's got the correspondence there.
So Neil, quite in a very pleasant way, let's just make that clear, sent me just a couple of things to clarify. To start with TDS, you get 5 years of retroactive runoff cover when the policy stops, and then you can actually add.
So presumably that means if someone comes after you retire,
absolutely, you've got five years worth. Although I think I was reading somewhere that the average date after retirement of claims coming is about 9 years, so that's worthwhile factoring in. I think that's endo cases a lot failing after 9 years, but you've got to ask, is an endo that fails after 9, 10, 15 years an actual failure, or is that extra?
The problem is that all the distress of someone coming at you once you retire. Best thing to do is not retire.
That's
my plan.
Out of the door in your coffin.
No. Well, ultimately, but just work until you're until you're 80 odds. Yeah.
The other real issue that Neil picked up is that it's not just him and Vicki. They've got 6 advisors and about 10 handlers with a whole panel of solicitors and experts. So there's around about 20 or 30 people.
I think that's fair. I think that is fair. I didn't know the scale of what they were doing. The TDS, my first sort of, when they first came on my horizon, TDS, it was with my friends in Scotland, in the west coast of Scotland. It was very new. And when it was being set up from scratch, and it would have been, he's saying 7.5 years or thereabouts, and it was very early on at that stage. It would have been around about that time that I became aware that it was going on, and I'll name some of my guys that went across, but some guys went across very early into that. Most of the guys that were really tight, to be honest, who saw it, and I always had, not concerns, but I was always interested to see what the difference was across. And Neil mentioned in his correspondence, we here we're going to set up an evening where him and Vicki come and give the TDS angle across, because people are interested in it, and people are
very much so, and as an alternative to the big discretionary providers.
I think there are. It would be nice, I guess, on that evening to put one or more of the discretionary providers there too. Because it would be nice to have an open discussion about.
I think so, and I think I was talking to someone the other day about the lack of independent advice on indemnity. You've got at the moment, BDA Indemnity are really, really pushing against dental protection. Although I think there's some feeling that the BDA are really after the TDS type.
Although
markets.
Neil says he doesn't believe that.
Yeah, it's difficult.
So he said it's a different model, but what I guess that the BD are doing is they're seeing a fracturing market.
Yes,
right. Yeah. And so definitely we laughed about the St. Paul last time, which was they were the innovators. They're a big, massive insurance company that dropped in, and they were handing out. We were talking about the free gifts. One of them was like a spongy ball, I'm sure, and they started the process of could the market be disrupted, and they couldn't make it stick. But then, Neil came along with a different angle and a different model, and did manage to break straight into the market and disrupt it.
And very, very quickly.
Yeah. He'll say 7.5 years, but that is quite quick.
That is quick, really, in the grand scheme of things.
And then, and has gained a bit of traction. And then the BDA will look at that and go, well, this market's breaking apart. Yeah. And the rest of us will sit there and go, well, my numbers are still going up and up. And then they'll come on a course of ours and they'll say, well, I want to restore some implants, right? And then when they get now you're involved in implants, just restoring single implants, but you're $2,000 more or $3,000 more.
But not so much on the insurance base. I think a lot of the insurance-based providers will include it in the basic cover. So that's another incentive to move over.
Yeah.
I think certainly with BDA indemnity, as far as I can tell, they're trying to use it as a push to increase BDA membership as well, because you have to be a BDA member to get the indemnity.
Yeah, that would be
and
right.
That kind of I can see where they're coming from.
Yeah, well, that model, and it's drifting in, if you're not careful, into another podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks very much, Daniil and Vicki.
Yes, very much.
Brilliant for the interaction, and we really appreciate it. And that's what we want. It's not that we would shy away or hide away from anybody who corrected us or because we don't. We're very proud of the fact that we don't research anything or know about anything, but we do talk.
I did make that very, very clear at the start.
But the BDA thing, if you looked at the NMC, so my wife is a nurse. So the Nursing and Midwifery Council, well, your indemnity is included in your membership for NMC, and I know that the impact of indemnity is not as great on that, but that's your indemnity in one place. So your union is your indemnifier, and so you could say that what the BDA are doing is innovative, or you could also say it's entirely old-fashioned, and other people have been doing it for a long time. Because I'm pretty sure chiropractors and physios are the same. Not certain about that, Neil, but pretty sure that they're the same. But just, I guess, just to say thanks to those guys, and just to demonstrate that. If you do hear anything on this or you get anything on this and you want to feed back to us, then we would really be interested in opening the discussion.
Absolutely. We're always happy to chat and happy to make any small, large corrections that may need.
We have a very, very active Facebook page and blog, apparently, that Shaun is entirely in control of.
Yeah.
And he's now,
I'm not entirely in control of anything.
But if you could just keep interacting in that, because Shaun's getting a bit fed up of all this, turning up with his fancy kit and Colin just speaking into a microphone. So he would appreciate some feedback.